Unfortunately, the majority of Christian movies are terrible, especially from a filmmaking perspective. So what does it take to actually make a good or even great Christian movie? Well, stick around and I would be happy to tell you. Hello everyone, welcome back, and I hope you're having a great day, I really do. If you're not, maybe this will make it better because I want to talk about an amazing movie. Today we're talking about Ragamuffin. Before we do that, I'm going to go on a tiny rant and then we're going to talk about why this is a great Christian movie. Now before I get into this, I think it's important that we define what makes a film Christian. So I did a quick Google search and here's what I found. Christian movies are films containing a Christian-themed message or moral produced by Christian filmmakers to a Christian audience. Now I thought this next part was really interesting. And films produced by non-Christians with Christian audiences in mind. So based on the premise, I think we have a good foundation of what makes a film Christian. So I mentioned my rant and here it comes. So I want to share kind of why I think most Christian movies are not good. I think the main culprit for these is Christian film studios and Christian film festivals. The rules when you want to release a film as part of a Christian film festival is, now this isn't for all of them, but this is kind of like general consensus. You can't have offensive language, strong violence, and it must be family friendly, and you can't do horror. So I'm not necessarily saying I endorse these things, but I don't think we should totally rule them out of the Christian film industry. Now, releasing a film independently definitely is an alternative, but it's really hard to get that publicity when you don't have a big Christian studio behind it. With all those rules and regulations, I think it's pretty clear why the majority of Christian films released just aren't very good. The creators are too restrained on what they're allowed and what they're not allowed to do. Just look at PureFlix. They're probably the #1 Christian film studio in the country, if not the world. Now, I got this right off of their About Us page, and it says, Hollywood has played a major role in shaping our current culture by controlling most of the media that we experience today. Now, I will agree that the movies Hollywood produces definitely shape our culture, but I think beyond that, they also reflect our culture and what's happening. How can a movie be compelling if it doesn't relate to what's going on in our society in some way, shape, or form? Sadly, PureFlix, in my opinion, also controls the media that Christians receive in the film industry. There aren't rules and regulations within Hollywood and what directors can and can't do. They have creative freedom. But when it comes to the Christian film industry, it's really hard to push a movie out that's going to be dealing with those real, honest issues. Now, say I wanted to make a movie about a Christian who struggles with drug addictions, genuine anger towards God, or some kind of horrific spiritual struggle. Because of those strict things that are in place by Christian film studios, my movie probably wouldn't see much of an audience. Now, thank you for indulging me. That is the end of my rant, and now we can talk about Ragamuffin. I can't do this movie justice in describing its plot, so I'm just going to read the synopsis from the case to you. Based on the life of Rich Mullins, a musical prodigy who rose to Christian music fame and fortune only to walk away and live on a Navajo reservation. An artistic genius, raised on a tree farm from Indiana by a callous father, Rich wrestled all of his life with brokenness and crippling insecurity born of his childhood. A lover of Jesus and a rebel in the church, Rich refused to let his struggles with his own darkness tear him away from God. Rich refused to let his struggles with his own darkness tear him away from a God that he was determined to love. He struggled with success in Nashville and depression in Wichita. Rich desired most of all to live a life of honest and reckless faith amidst a culture of religion and conformity. There are many factors that go into a great movie, and one of the most important is a realistic and relatable character. Just from that synopsis I read, I'm sure there's at least one way that you can already relate to Rich and what he goes through. I think that's one of the many reasons why this is just a great Christian film. And not even just a Christian film, this is just a great movie in general. It was released through an independent studio, which gives it that freedom to be more honest and down to earth and just realistic. As you heard in the synopsis, Mullins had a true heart for God, but he also struggled with things like brokenness, depression, alcoholism, and smoking. This film is not afraid to give us an honest representation of Mullins' life. It gives us the highs, but it also gives us the lows. I've watched this movie at least 5 times since I initially discovered it a few years ago, and every time I am just deeply moved. In my mind, no other Christian movie even comes close to how powerful this one is. The directing and the acting are excellent, and the guy who plays Rich Mullins in the movie actually sang the songs that they used in the film, and amazingly, he sounds just like him. It's incredible. If you haven't seen this movie, I clearly recommend it. There are too many cheesy Christian movies out there with cookie cutter characters and preachy stories. We need more movies like Ragamuffin that aren't afraid to give us a real and honest interpretation of somebody's life. Someone that we can actually relate to. Now, I could talk and gush about this movie all day, so thank you for taking the time to listen to me. If you haven't seen this movie, I hope I've convinced you to check it out. If you like this video, leave a like, and if you would like to see more like it, definitely subscribe to my channel. I just launched this, but I have a few videos up to get started, and I'll get more up soon. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you on the next one.